He said, okay, all right. I said, I have a concealed carry permit. He's like, all right, well, come over here to the counter, put your hands on the counter. So I put my hands on the counter, and he takes my gun away from me. And I turn around, I hand him my wallet with my driver's license and my concealed carry permit. And he's like, look, I'm going to need to hold on to the gun, and I'm going to run you, make sure this gun's not stolen, and make sure you don't have any warrants out for your arrest. Come with me to the car. Okay, I understand you're doing your job, no problem. Come out to the car. I stand by the back side of the car, and he's calling it in on his lapel mic. And, of course, everything comes back fine. Well, in the meantime, the other officer who was talking with a girl goes around and looks at the videotape, the surveillance tape in the gas station. So then I hear whatever the dude's name, the officer's name was, hey, come here and check this out. Come here and check this out. So he's like, well, come with me. So he still's got my gun. He's still got my license and stuff. I kind of follow him back in the store, but I hang outside, and they're looking at it, and they're like, dude, that was like 0.3 seconds you drew on him, and he dropped the gun. That's amazing. Well, now the tone of the conversation has completely changed. Here for a moment, I thought, he has my gun, he has my license and everything. So they come back around, and, they're like, how did you do that so fast? So we start talking about a little bit about what I do for a living, blah, blah, blah. And, everything ends up being fine. They take a report and take my name and number and stuff, and they give me all my gear back, my gun and license back and everything. But the reason I tell you that story is most people have in their mind how they think it's going to go down. They think there's going to be some, distance that is going to allow them to draw, and Lord forbid you don't have a round chamber. That in amongst itself is retarded, but you're going to have time to do whatever you need to do, and you're going to be able to get a sight picture, and you're going to have a big target to shoot at, and everything's going to be great and wonderful. But look at all the things that I was talking about. Dialing 911, keeping that phone open so that the 911 operator can hear everything that's going on. That's a recording. That's admissible in court. Then the angle that first of all, I decided to draw the gun, and then the angle that I took, and then the fact that I didn't shoot him because he ran away. And then how I reacted when the police showed up. Gun was already holstered, hands were in the air, clearly visible, I have nothing in them. Officer, I'm glad you're here. I'm the one that called. I'm the one that called. And then, I'm going to comply with what the officer wants relative to his investigation. And it worked out just fine. And, I'm very thankful I didn't have to pull the trigger, because there's a life-changing event that will take place when you shoot somebody. You can't come back from that. You're forever changed. So I would hope that you would never have to pull the trigger. But I was prepared to do so. And I want you guys to understand that it's not going to go down the way you think it is. You're not going to have the time you think you're going to have. And that dude could have just as easily turned around and put his gun towards me when I walked in. Then what? Then it hits the fan really quick, and you got to make some decisions. Do I move offline, draw, and shoot him? Do I comply until I think I've got a point of advantage, which I may never get because he may pull the trigger? But that didn't happen. Okay, but I've trained for it, but it didn't happen. The way that it went down was I was able to go to the bathroom, close the door, call 911, come out, and do what I needed to do. So train the way that you think you're going to fight. And then train other ways you think you might never fight. Because no one on God's green earth can tell you how it's going to go down. There's not going to be a memo that says, hey, today at 3 o'clock, you're going to get into it. Oh, well, 3 o'clock, I need to go ahead and get my gun on at 2:30 so I'm prepared, be early. It doesn't happen that way. And if I hadn't had a gun on me, things would have gone a lot different. So think about that. Think about that in your training. People aren't going to turn into pink mist when you shoot them. You have to get accurate shots. You'll hear the saying a lot, aim small, miss small. When you go into your range, don't try to hit the 10 ring. Try to hit small, because under duress, those shots are going to open up. But be prepared mentally to be ready for the fight, because no one can tell you when it's coming. It'll just be on your doorstep, and you will have to make a decision.